At your mom to make sure it's okay to go up the next step. She's like, yeah, go, go. And this could be happening in World Trade Center Station, and you're behind the kid and you're like, oh, that's so adorable. Look at him taking his steps. But if I try to do that now and just stop and like tie my shoe, people are like, what are you doing, bro? Get out of the way, I'm trying to get to work on time. And nobody cares. Because when you're a kid, everybody loves you. Then you grow up, everybody hates you, and then you die. And I realized that that's not very funny. Well, maybe it is kind of funny because it's the truth. But that's how things go. And I miss being a kid because my mom would do my homework for me. And that's a trend that continued into high school and sadly my first year of college, where I would do like a group assignment. And this would be like in like elementary school, like, oh mom, I need help doing a poster. Like, oh okay, sweetie, I'm the perfect mother. I'm gonna help you do your homework. I'm like, thanks, boom, Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm just sitting there playing the games, and then she's like doing my homework for me. So like fast forward to when I'm like 19 years old, and my mom's like, oh, why so blue, Panda Bear? I'm like, oh, it's not your problem, Mom. I'm an adult now. I need to handle my own problems, you know. And she's like, no, what can I do to help? I was like, well, I have this project about a serial killer, and I thought that a billboard with like a bunch of like funny word art pictures on it would really like, you know, do well for the project. She's like, oh, I'll do that. Like, yes. Go sit down and play Sonic the Hedgehog because I'm in college and I haven't matured at all. So that's pretty much a summary of everything. But like now I'm an adult. You have to be an adult, and you know it's not that great, and it's not that that's all that cracked up to be. And another thing I miss about being a kid though is being able to make up rules for yourself. So like when you're a little kid, like for example, when I was a kid, no matter what you told me, you could not convince me that girls needed to eat to survive. Like I thought girls just thrived off of, you know, Beverly Hills 90210 and ponies and like, you know, just doing nice things and working around the house. That's what I thought like girls were, their subsistence was. That's what I thought. I'm like only men need to eat, girls don't need to eat. And when I was a kid, I would pray because I thought it would make you taller. So like every time you perform a salah, that's like, oh, that's in the bank. Like, oh, you got to be taller. So I'm like, I'm gonna pray extra. And my dad's like, no, it doesn't work like that. I'm like, I'm just gonna make up prayers. And then I would go and I'd pray asana, and then I'd be like, no, this is new asana. And then I'll do like pray new asana. And I thought that I would grow taller when I did that. And I think it's not so much that I made that stuff, it was my parents would tell me those things. And you know, if there's one thing that taught me is that good parenting is lying. You just have to lie to your kids, and then they'll do whatever they think, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, why should I eat this? Because if you don't eat it, you'll get a heart attack. You're like, really? Okay, I'll eat this food. I don't want to get a heart attack when I'm 6. That's a young age to get a heart attack. I mean, it's kind of messed up when you think about it. Heart attacks aren't really that funny. And I'm friends with a lot of Pakistanis, and yeah, here we go. I realized that like Pakistanis, I've run out of jokes about them. I mean, all I ever did was just like talk about Pakistanis, haha, they're so funny. And I gotta say something right now, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Pakistanis get pumped about this, but Pakistanis are my favorite ethnicity in the world. So you guys can pat yourselves on the back. If you're Pakistani, pat yourselves on the back, you know, do it. No, do it, please, and pat yourself on the back. Because Pakistanis, you can make fun of them all day, and they don't care. Like, you could be like, you know, hey, Pakistanis, when they sweat, Tabasco sauce comes out. And they'll be like, oh, it does come out. And I'm like, oh, come here, Raj. And he'll be like, oh, okay. And they're like, yeah, and my eggs are kind of bland. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, Tabasco sauce does come out. And masala comes out of my feet. And then he takes them out. Boom, he puts masala on your salad, and you get that. I'm like, oh, masala does come out of your feet. I'm pretty sure chutney will come out of your armpits. Like, well, it does. And then boom, boom, boom. Come out. And then I just fed a whole family. Actually, I mean, we should really do this to solve world hunger. We should just get a bunch of sweaty Pakistanis to come around and then just distribute delicious, spicy foodstuffs all over the world. And that'll be fun. Oh, I'm sorry, this is something I have to talk about. Speaking of world hunger. Now, if you do this, you and I can't be friends. If you put your Facebook status as, change your profile picture to a picture of food to end world hunger, then this'll like solve world hunger. It's like, okay, so people do it. And then all of a sudden, like people wake up the next morning like, oh my God, dude, Aziz, I'm not hungry anymore. I'm not hungry. It's like, we finally got the Facebook followers to stop world hunger. It doesn't work like like that. Or the worst is like when everybody was doing, this was recent, where people put pictures of their favorite cartoon characters to stop child abuse. I mean, if anything, that, like, you know, somebody would see that, I was like, oh, do this to stop child abuse. Like, I never had the idea to beat a child, but after I saw that status, I was like, you can do that. You can totally hit children. I mean, you'll probably beat them in a fight. You got like 130 pounds on them, you know? So like, that actually promoted child abuse in my eyes. I mean, that's the first thing, I'm gonna go kick a toddler. Get out of here. Taking a whole bunch of them at once. It really matter. So, and then, oh, okay, back to Pakistan. But there's, pro wrestling is popular everywhere. Professional wrestling is popular all over the world. And especially with, I know people overseas. So I was at a friend's house, we were watching fights. And it's the UFC. And the UFC, they have like ring girls like they do in boxing. So we had this one brother, he was over watching the fights. And there was a ring girl, and he's like, is that the WWF diva? And I'm like, what? A diva? And he's like, yes, diva. So I just looked at my friend, and we just start cracking up laughing. And this guy like thinks there's nothing wrong with that. So then it started making me think about professional wrestling. Like, you could be an Olympic athlete. You can train every single day. 6 hours a day, not touching steroids. You're squatting, you got dudes on your back squatting dudes all day, you're wrestling, you're sweaty, and there's all these other dudes who want to like just break your neck. You learn all these different types of submission moves, and then like, okay, fine, you win your like high school championship, and then you go to nationals, and you win national championship, and then the Olympic Commission comes like, hello, we're the Olympic Commission. You're like, oh, it's the Olympic Commission, and they want you to join their team. So you train even harder, and you're eating like 30,000 calories a day because you're just burning so much energy, and then you make it to the Olympics, and then you fight the best athletes in the world, and then you beat them, and then you win Olympic gold, and yet you are still an amateur wrestler. But the second you wear a leather vest, put on a pair of jeans, boots, get a tan, pump yourself up with steroids, and wrestle a guy not for national pride, but because he like dissed your wife or something, you're a professional wrestler in the WWF. You can come out, you can wrestle your boss, and he comes up with all these weird things to tell you to do, and yes, that's a professional, but an amateur, no. You're running the Olympics, that's amateur stuff, man. Because when you're going around with a nickname like, you know, Jake the Snake Roberts, and you come out with the snakes in the ring, that's it, you're a professional wrestler, man. That's what separates the amateurs from the professionals, you know? And I gotta say something, like the world right now is all upside down, all right? Oh wait, another thing, that whole professional wrestling joke, I thought it was pretty funny, personally, and I know it's not a lot of people laugh right here. And I told that joke in Princeton, and everybody's just like, oh my god, like this guy's talking about pro wrestling. And Princeton people are smart. I mean, I don't know about NJIT people, but Princeton people are pretty smart. And the kind of comedy they like is like when people talk about like, oh my god, Muslims are so oppressed. He pronounced my name, Ibn Abdullah Ali Aziz Sharif, and everybody knows it's Sharif. And then like, what's my younger brother's name? Ibn Ali Abdul Aziz Deputy? I mean, it's not Sheriff. I mean, I don't understand what's wrong with these guys. And those are the kinds of like comedy they like. So I just want to say something, like, you know, Muslims, yeah, I mean, it stinks, we are oppressed, and we have the world's worst leaders, all this stuff that's going on in the Middle East right now, leaders are toppling, falling over, left and right. But if you think about it, I mean, we kind of deserve it. Remember when, like, we had the best leaders in the world, like Omar bin al-Khattab and Uthman and Ali, and then, like, we kind of killed them, didn't we? Like, Muslims killed them. Like, I don't think we deserve good leaders if we just kill the best ones we have. I mean, I can't think of any better ones than that. And I see, like, Granny's kind of, like, you know, getting a little, like, freaked out over here. But I'm sorry, man. Like, that's the truth of the whole matter right now. Most people are turning me off in their minds right now, but that's fine. I mean, it's cool. Now, there's one guy I want to talk about, and this is the only reason I know about him, because I don't really follow news, and the only time I ever followed like stuff that was going on in the Middle East is when they showed Gaddafi on the news. This guy looks like a Street Fighter villain. I mean, he's going around with, he's got this whole entourage of like Amazon bodyguards. That's actually a new reality show right there. Like Gaddafi's like, oh, I need to find my new bodyguard, and it's like The Bachelor, you know, but it's with all like female bodyguards. And she's like, I can break a neck in 14 places. Gaddafi's like, that's good. Can you, you know, make me clothes like this? I'm like, absolutely. And so like she'll go and like makes clothes, and then he wears his awesome robe. So like, it's just that guy, like, I find it hilarious that things like that actually exist in this world, you know? And, okay, there's another story I have. Aside from Gatollari, we got problems here in America, it tells me. If you live in Newark, there's homeless people all around. And generally I don't laugh about, you know, homeless people and stuff. I don't like, hey, you live in a box, I live in a house. Like, I don't do that. I mean, not all the time, but I mean, I think of it, I don't do it. So, there was one time I walked with my friend, and where, I think it was on Raymond Boulevard, and we're walking, and he was teaching at a school in Newark to get his license and everything. So I see a homeless couple, and they're having a domestic dispute. And they have their shopping cart, and it's filled with all of their, like, you know, their belongings and stuff. And the wife's like, I can't take it anymore, I want you out. And the husband's on the bench, he's like, what did I do? I'm assuming they were married. I don't know if they had some, like, homeless civil union where, like, another hobo priest came or whatever and did everything. But she starts throwing his stuff in the street, like, out of the cart, like, you're not living with me anymore. And I'm like, it's like a woman throwing the boyfriend's stuff like outside of the house, like, you know, in the street and stuff. And I'm just like, this is the most surreal thing I've ever seen. And then they just look at me and my friend and they're like, what are you looking at? Me and my friend look at them, we're like, we're looking at you. I had to say it. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? Why? How is that not funny? It's homeless people. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get. What do you want me to talk about? Boys and girls are different. Oh man, they're not different. Boys and girls are different. Getting married. Oh, I'm engaged, by the way, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like okay, fine. Hey, we're engaged. Like, oh man, she wants me to compromise my beliefs and stuff. Like, I can't play video games all night. Like, grow up, dude. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about the differences between girls smell nice and boys, they're just awful and they don't listen and all that stuff. Like, I hate it when girls talk. I'm not gonna talk about that. There was a funny, something funny that happened. Oh, speaking of homeless people, there's this show. You see that show, What Would You Do, with that big guy? Well, basically what that show is, like, they get people on hidden cameras. So you'll have, like, for example, this one episode, you had this lady, and she was a little overweight, and she's sitting in a diner, and then the waiter goes up and she orders like chocolate chip pancakes, syrup, and all this bad food. And the waiter like looks at her and is like, you know, I really can't serve you that. You shouldn't be eating that. You know, it's bad for your health. And the whole point of the show is to see whether or not people are gonna come to this woman's aid and tell her, hey, the waiter, no, you're bad. Like, you shouldn't tell her that. But like me, like, I was kind of thinking, I'm like, you know, like, that guy is kind of like Batman in The Dark Knight. Like, she might not be the waiter she wants, but she's the waiter he needs. Like, he was looking out for her well-being. So like, if they caught me on that show, I would be I would look like a total villain. Because I'd be there, I'd be like, yeah man, I mean, you should really listen to him. I mean, like, seriously, you know, I'm like, I don't even know how, like, I'm like, I shouldn't even be eating that stuff. I don't understand it, you know? Like, I don't get it. And okay, and here's the last thing, because you guys don't seem to be having a good time, and I don't care, I'm still getting paid. But there was this one article that I read, and there was this violinist, and he was playing the subway. And he's playing the most intricate, beautiful, like, violin strings. People are walking by, and they don't want to hear it, they're like, get away from me, creep. And it turns out that the violinist was the world's greatest violinist in the entire world. And he was playing on a violin that was worth $3.5 million. Like, I didn't even know that existed. And people will just keep walking by. And the Washington Post did this story. It got me like 32 bucks an hour, which, like, that would be pretty nice. I'd like to make a job for 32 bucks an hour, I do that. But the Washington Post is like, it just shows how genius can go unappreciated unless it's in the proper settings. And I was like, no, it doesn't really show that. Maybe it just shows that violins suck. Like, like the violin isn't really that good of an instrument. Maybe that's what it proves. If you had a guy shredding on an electric guitar, I'll tell you what would attract people's attention. If you had Hulk Hogan versus The Rock versus Triple H in like a triple threat Punjabi prison match, I'm telling you right now, I would stop there. I'd like be throwing them money. I'd be like, here's my card, charge whatever. Like, I'll sign over my father's like mortgage, like stuff in the house and the lease with the deed to the home's yours. Like, I'll give you my soul. Where's the peace? I'm just gonna give it away, because that would be amazing. Anyway, I hope I didn't bother you guys too much with my rants. Have a good night, and that's all I got for tonight.